now we can move on to Group C, because this is the other one we were just talking about with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. And as
So
you know,
two have vested interest as well.
We both have vested interest.
Yeah. And the thing is about me, like, I'm not a racist, but
he hates Mexicans.
I cannot stand Mexican national team fans. Like, living in like where we live, they're everywhere. They're like cockroaches. You lift up a sandal, you find them everywhere.
It's blooming.
Hey, is this thing on?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Are We Recording? My name is Gage Sutton, here with Ethan Hamilton, the young Rottweiler. And I'm 007. And today we're joined by a very special guest. We are joined by content creator, and he's actually joining us from a different country. Rimedi, welcome. How you doing, man?
Thank you guys for having me. You guys humbled me with your intro. Thank you so much. Joining in live from London, England. West London to be specific.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. The time is currently almost 12 a.m. So
wow. Well, thanks for joining us so late, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's all good.
Hey, well, I mean, living in England, you are in the center of the Premier League of everything going on with the world of soccer, I feel like, and shows through your content. I guess we can kind of just start with what kind of spurred your love for soccer and what made you want to start creating content?
Yeah, it's crazy because especially where we grow up in London, I'm not sure, like the culture is completely different. Like European culture is completely different to American culture. Where we grow up, football or soccer is do you guys want me to say football or soccer? What do you guys want me to say?
Man, keep it. Either soccer. Let's do football, man. Come on.
Okay.
We'll say American football for our football.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So growing up with football, I think that's all we knew growing up. Like, especially as well because like we all come from minority backgrounds. Other sports, they'd have a higher barrier to entry. So we can't just go and pick up tennis rackets. We can't just go up and, I don't know, play golf. We can't do that. So that's the only sport we have, football, because you just need a ball and you and yourself. So we all played it in the cages. We played on the streets. We played everywhere we could growing up. And it's different to like America because you guys have these big open fields that you guys can play on. Like I've seen so many different American content creators and they have this whole field to themselves. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. Imagine we had that here. But we don't have the land space to do that. So what we have is the cages. And growing up, I've always loved creating content. So I'm 22 years old. So I grew up on people like KSI. I grew up on A&I Skills. I grew up on all the FIFA content creators, all the football content creators, Sidemen, all these type of guys. All these guys. And I picked up a camera when I was 14. I posted a video when I was 14 about playing Football Manager and then playing FIFA. And then from there, it's just been simple for me because I've always been confident in front of the camera because I've been doing it since I was young. So then I just transitioned to TikTok. I started making a few videos and it got me some traction. That's basically how I grew. It was by the grace of God that I was able to like grow so quickly because we're about a year into my TikTok account. So that's what I'm proud of.
Hey, and speaking of your TikTok, I saw a recent video where you were comparing soccer players to pro wrestlers. And that's two of my favorite things. You know, obviously I'm trying to get back into soccer. I took a break for a little while and trying to get back into it. So when Ethan showed me your videos, I saw the pro wrestling thing, and that's something I still keep up with.
I knew it, the specific video to send him. I knew it because I know how much he talks about wrestling. I was like, bro, he's gonna get gas when I show him this.
I actually like I like pro wrestling as well. I don't mind it. I like WWE. I grew up with it. I fell out of love with it because the product was just getting worse and worse and worse. Like the 2018, the 2019, even COVID times, it wasn't really. But I think what got me back in was Roman Reigns, especially like his whole run.
His heel turn.
I'm like, it's crazy. So that's what got me back into watching it. Like, I was a big Roman Reigns fan growing up, even though like everyone hated on him. But his run right now is unbelievable. I try. Like sometimes Raw and SmackDown is on quite late for me, so I have to like catch it in the mornings. But I'm a big fan of wrestling. And
That's
I'm a big
awesome.
fan of football, so yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I think I'm sure you'll agree with me that AEW coming into the mix has kind of added a competitive feeling that we haven't really gotten from the WWE in a while, where like, they're really going to have to start stepping their brand up, or else AEW is going to do that. And I think competition is really what brings the best out of all of this, which leads to soccer. And I think right now we're seeing the most competitive soccer in the world with the Premier League and just all of Europe soccer, and with the World Cup coming up. There's just so much to talk about. So, Ethan, is there somewhere specific that you want to start? I mean, I'm sure you want to get something off your chest.
It's such like a hard
before we go, what teams do you guys support?
I want to ask your take on this, like, because you live in England, right? Like, so you guys have like a different perspective, like when it comes to like your fandom when it comes to soccer. Like, how many teams are y'all allowed to support? Before I answer this question, like, is it one of those things where like you guys are like cool with like one team per league? You know what I mean? Or is it one of those things where it's like, no, it's like ride or die. It's United, it's Arsenal, and it's fuck everybody else in everybody else's league.
Nah, you know what? I hate gatekeeping football. I hate it because it's the idea that if you like a player, if you like a team, go support them. If I was someone else, like, because what I realized, especially in the UK, is that everyone loves rules, and everyone says you must support the X, Y, and Z, and that's it. I think the general rule is you support one team in one league. I think that's what the general rule is. But you can like other teams, but I think the general rule in the UK is you support one team in the league, and that's it. So you can support a team in England, Spain, Germany, France, but it's just one team.
Okay, good.
But I don't. If you support a few, I don't mind.
All right, good. Because like I say, I didn't want to get judged too hard. So for me.
Hey, Ethan, I guess this will involve some background into what started us into soccer and where we grew up and stuff like that too. So do you want to start with I guess the national team? I guess
I'll start. Right. So my father's Jamaican and my mother's Argentinian. Right. So like those are the two like national teams that I ride or die for. So whenever I was around like my mother's side of the family when I was younger, that's all they ever watched was soccer. Like the Argentinian league with Boca Juniors, River Plate, that's all we watched all the time. And so whenever I got older and I started watching the Premier League and La Liga, for me, it was always two teams. It was Manchester City with Aguero. It was the year before they won the first title when, who was the coach? It was the coach before
Mancini.
Was Mancini the coach the year before, or was it the?
Yeah.
Okay, it was Mancini, and then Barcelona, of course, because of Messi. Like that 2008, 2009 team is like why I fell in love with it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's amazing. What about you, Gage?
So for me, my mom is from Mexico and my dad is from the United States. So kind of explains why, I really like football and basketball because I've got, an American in me, but I've always played soccer. I grew up playing or loving it and watching it all the time. In Mexico, it's my team is Atlas and they just won the championship. So pretty excited about that. But yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming for them and for us, I should say. And I think from there, it was kind of just watching it for the World Cup, and Messi really got me back into, watching the Spanish Premier League, especially when him and Ronaldo were going at it at Madrid and Barcelona. So
for me, it was like the Pep and Mourinho, like Madrid, Barcelona. That is to this day, that's the best rivalry. Like I'll die on that hill. Like they was beefing in press conferences. You could count on every El Clasico. We was getting 2-3 yellow cards and a guaranteed red. Somebody was getting kicked out.
Hey, but I do want to bring up one thing. Notice that me and Ethan are both actually I'm in San Antonio, Texas right now. Ethan's in San Marcos. We didn't
How far are they from each other?
Like
literally
30
an
minutes.
hour. Like an hour, probably. Well,
I drive fast.
Depends on traffic, right?
I drive fast.
But yeah, it's about an hour away. But I just want to point out that notice that me and Ethan didn't say anything about the state of American soccer right now. It's because we don't want to talk about it. Maybe we'll get to that later, but it's just, I think American soccer has a lot to grow in terms of just the competitive I guess, nature that we expect from them, especially with the NFL and, you know, the NBA and other sports leagues. So,
and it hurts a lot because, like, I see, like, with the MLS, it's sort of becoming, like, the last 5 years, I've noticed that it's very feedery. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, Farmers League. Like, I think the biggest thing that, like, told me that was when Alphonso Davies went to Bayern. That was, like, I was like, oh, so, like, we had, like, this generational talent, like, just sitting here this whole time. And he had no choice. Like, you could tell he was so giddy just to leave. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, we're still a ways to go.
Yeah. Yeah. What I feel about the MLS as well is it's just a general outlook of it, because where players go, it's associated with the end of their careers. So already past their prime, past their peak, they're 35, 36. We want a payday. Let's go to America.
Yep.
And let's get our money up.
Yep.
And the intensity isn't crazy. The weather sometimes is good. Like if you go to Miami, the weather's amazing. If you go to California, the weather's amazing. That's why
the sponsorships, the endorsements they're gonna get just from being in there that they can't, like, you know what I mean, that they're not gonna do in England or in Spain. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And the problem is how do you try turn the casual audience? Because the fans of the MLS are probably diehard fans for their own teams. There's not a general fan of the Major League Soccer like there is a general fan of the Premier League in England, because the Premier League is just so much bigger. It's the biggest league in the world in terms of revenue, sponsorship, etc. So it's just about what can MLS teams do to try bring that attention over. Can they look to sign players in their prime? Could they look to make the league more attractive for players to join? Could they make certain incentives, not just money-wise, but let's say someone that's 25, you could be like, okay, we're going to give you a contract for this much money. In a year, if you don't like it, you can go back to playing in Europe, but at least come for a year, try it out, and try convince someone. And I think it just needs one player or a group of players to take the leap. And then once the league starts to become more attractive, then, I don't know, other players can come. But at the moment, it's just, as you said, Ethan, it's just a feeder league at the moment. And it's sad, but it's just the state of the way American football or American soccer is.
Yeah, exactly. It starts, I think it all stems from, like, just the culture of soccer, or they call it soccer too. Like, I mean, we had to find a different name for for it because we didn't want to call it like football. So, I mean, for me, I just feel like a lot of Americans just kind of were like, you know, this kind of Europe's thing, but there are a lot of cool and interesting things that are going on in the English Premier League and soccer worldwide. And I just feel like, especially with the English Premier League, I feel like that's the perfect league to start somebody off with, like to start, get them into soccer. And if we can just start getting more American population and more people focus on actually playing soccer, I think sky is the limit. But as of right now,
I was going to say, from what I've noticed, especially in America, I feel like, you know how I was talking about right at the start, because I wanted to come back to it, the sort of barriers to entry. Because basketball, you just need a ball and a hoop. Football, for you guys, you just need a ball and you just need someone to throw it to. You just need to run around with it, or you just need to be athletic so that you can obviously do your charges and etc. So I feel like, especially with soccer, it's always seen as the rich person's sport in America. Like, you need your boots, you need cleats, you need your family to back you. You need to be joining a D1 school, and then you need to be able to
clubs too.
Exactly. So, and in England, it's a lot cheaper. You just need to join a team and you get scouted for by a bigger team, and that's the process in England, and it's just different in America. So I think once that changes as well, and once it's easier to get into it, maybe things will start to change.
I agree with you because if you think about it, like, the pay to play, like, for soccer, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't make sense. Like, so for, like, the schools in America, like, we call them colleges, y'all call it the universities. Like, it's pretty much the same thing. But, like, if you look at the amount of schools that offer, like, scholarships in soccer, it's like only like maybe like 10, 11. And then you consider basketball and American football, it's like 150, 160, 170, like D1, D2, D3, like all these divisions of, like, colleges are offering it, like, when soccer's not like that.
And they don't even offer men's soccer at Texas State. And I think it's because of, like, a Title IX rule that we have, but, like, there's no men's soccer team at our university.
Yeah, it's only women's soccer. Yeah.
Yeah, that is that. Yeah, and maybe I understand because the women's division in terms of American soccer or American football, soccer in America is just going crazy. Like they won the World Cup, they're doing really well.
Much better than the men.
Yeah, so they just think, okay, why are we going to invest our money in the men when the women are doing so much better?
And we already have football and we have basketball for the men. Like we don't. Yeah.
Exactly. So they might just think, let it just be the women's thing. But equally, the men need to pick up their weight as well and try to do well in the international tournaments. Because the furthest America has gone is, I don't know, the round of 16 in the World Cup.
No, they got to, I think the semifinal, but it was like, bro, long before us. Like,
yeah, come on, man. Yeah, things need to change.
Yeah. And I think, like I mentioned, the Title IX thing basically was like a equality thing for the university and for the Sun Belt Conference, which Texas State plays in. So,
and for those that might be confused, Texas State University, that's the university that me and him go to. Like, oh, yeah. That's where we met. Yeah. Yeah. So, is that way we don't confuse you? Yeah.
But, okay. No. Yeah. I mean, Rimedi, did you have thoughts on something?
No, I was just going to talk about how I was just going to say a brief point about like just women's soccer, how it's so big there and it's starting to grow, especially in Europe, because I don't know if you guys know this, but El Clasico between Real Madrid women's and Barcelona women's, it just recently broke the world record for attendance for a women's game. I think it sold out the Camp Nou, which is like, I don't know, 92,000 seats.
Yeah, I remember seeing something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's amazing. So I just feel like whilst the recognition is there, whilst it's doing really well in America for women's football, let's start getting the awareness and recognition up for the men's football as well.
And I agree, because if you think of that, like Gage, like me, like I barely remembered that even happening. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy to think, because like the Barcelona Femi team, when it comes to like when their time is done, like I'm pretty sure you'll have more information on it than me. Like they'll probably go down as like one of the most dominant teams in like any professional team sports, and we won't ever talk about it. You know what I mean? Because like women's sports doesn't get that too much light, and plus soccer. You know what I mean? In the U.S., and no one's gonna really pay too much attention to both those.
Yeah, 100% for sure.
It's a similar thing with basketball over here in the United States with the WNBA. We're just barely seeing them really start to get more TV coverage and more media coverage, the coverage that they deserve. So I think it's just a growth on all parts in America in terms of equality for the men and women as athletes and for soccer players eventually. But I guess one of the things I kind of want to move on to, or I guess one of the things I really like about your videos is the way you compare the wrestlers to the soccer teams, or you compare soccer teams to we can compare soccer teams to American teams, which is going to lead me to my next segment with Ethan.
All right, bet. Let's start with some soccer to NBA comparisons, because I remember messaging you like while I was talking with Gage and we were making the comparison. He was like, Ethan, are you sure like he's gonna know some of these comparisons we do the NFL? Like, should we ask him first? And I'm like, that's a really good idea. Like, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'll be real. I'm a very big casual when it comes to NFL. Like, I'm trying to get into it. What is so hard for me to get into NFL is just the amount of stops there are.
I told you, Gage.
The thing is, this is exactly why is I was saying that I think the American attention span has gotten used to the NBA, to the NFL. There are stops very often because there's always challenging of plays, timeouts, injuries, all that kind of stuff. With soccer, it's a continuous 45-minute half where you don't have any commercials until you get to halftime. So, as Europeans, I think you guys have gotten a little bit spoiled with that. I think as Americans, we're expecting commercials all the time. Yeah,
we're so used to the marketing, and like they're always trying to sell us something. You know what I mean?
All the time. Like right now, literally on the NBA playoffs, we're watching an AT&T commercial. Yeah. Like it's inescapable.
Who's playing now? Philly.
Yeah, Philly. It's Philly and Toronto right now.
Yeah, the Dallas game played earlier, and I'm in a depressive state right now because they lost. So,
but you support Dallas? Okay.
Yeah. Dallas and the Lakers, but none of my friends say I support the Lakers, so it's always.
He's not a Lakers fan. He's not a Lakers fan. He's a Mavericks fan, and I'm a Spurs fan. So
I bet.
But
that point you said about like the stopping and like the slow pacing of American sport, not necessarily like the game speed, but like the constant commercial and stuff like that is really interesting, and I think we should stay on that because we were talking to like our other buddies who they don't watch soccer at all, and we were while preparing for this, we're like, so what keeps y'all from being avid like soccer watchers? And their biggest thing was like, bro, like when we're watching it, like we don't know what we're supposed to be watching for. Like we're so used to seeing like a made basket in basketball or seeing a touchdown or a nice catch. Like soccer, it's kind of really like only the goals. Like that's the only thing that they really see on the highlights. So what do you think? Like pretend like we're like the dumb like the Americans that don't understand like soccer. What should we be focusing on like when we're watching like our first couple soccer matches?
I think as like there's different ways you can get into it, and because I try to watch football from an analytical point of view, so I can make content about it. But where, let's say I didn't know anything about football, what I would look towards is I would look at teams that play quickly, teams that go from front to back very quickly, because it's something that's very, like seeing a very good counter attack in football is something, one of the best things ever. Like, especially in that time where Ethan, you were watching Barcelona, Real Madrid when it was peak times, that Real Madrid team used to go from back to front in seconds.
With Gareth Bale,
it used to be
too?
so.
No.
Yeah,
exactly. But even before that, when it was at Di Maria and Higuain and Ozil,
Ronaldo, Ozil, like Benzema, like all these players going from back to front, and it's in within 5 or 6 passes. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. But you're going.
I just want to like I fell in love with it because of that reason. Like it was the counter of like the Mourinho, like I'm gonna sit back for 85 minutes, but for these 5 minutes like spread out during the game, I'm gonna give you hell when we have the ball. Like, and it was like the complete opposite to Pep. Like Pep, it was like the artistry, the tiki taka, like the Johan Cruyff, like the Ajax, like the next evolution. Like it was like we're gonna pass the ball like 900 times. It's like death by 1,000 cuts is like how I say it.
Exactly.
And the way they like just kept clashing like back and forth, like that was peak.
Yeah. I could speak about that rivalry for ages, but I think when it comes to especially just trying to get into it, you look at players that would like. I think his name is Speed, the YouTuber. There was a video, I think I saw it on TikTok, and it was him reacting to Messi, like the best Messi clips and the best Messi highlights. And he's obviously a Cristiano Ronaldo fan. But this guy was watching Messi, and this guy was like, oh my God, what a player. This guy's crazy. So I think maybe before you get into watching football, try find players that you really like as well. Players that you can just be mesmerized by. You can watch a whole 20-minute highlight video with music in the back. You're just like, wow, this player is so good. And then you could look at the player in the game, reenacting what they do from the highlights. And then that could get you into, this player plays like this. His team plays like this. Do I like the way the team plays? No? Okay, let me support another team. It's the way that I got into football. It's the way, I'm an Arsenal fan. You guys maybe know, you might not know. And the guy that got me into, because I was getting into football, it's weird because I started watching football when I was 6, so 2006, but it was just as the Arsenal successful period was coming to an end. So we got to a Champions League final. I remember I was so excited for the Champions League final. I told all my friends at school, I was 6 years old, bearing in mind. I fell asleep the whole match. I didn't even see it. I fell asleep. I was so upset. And I found out the result in the morning and we lost. I was so upset.
Like that's 2 days that you ruined. The day that you slept through the game and the day after when you got the result.
Man,
having to go to school the next day.
I have vivid flashbacks of it. And the person that really got me into football properly was Cesc Fabregas. He's like my GOAT. He was my like crazy, like, because I was a midfielder growing up. I still play midfield when I play football. And just being able to control the ball in a way and you can control everything and get goals and get assists and look very silky as you do it. He was my favorite player going into football. So like I used to watch YouTube highlights of him, like Cesc Fabregas 2006 highlights, Cesc Fabregas 2009 highlights. And I'd be watching him and I'd be like, oh my God, I like the way he plays. I like the way the team plays. Okay, I support Arsenal now. And that's the way I got into it. So I don't know if you can suggest that onto your friends. Like try find a player that you like.
My favorite one
and then that can
is this 2016-2017 Dimitri Payet. I kid you not, for like 12 months, like if somebody told me he's the best player like who's ever played a game, I wouldn't have like disagreed with them. Like I still remember that.
Yeah.
What was the last game of the season when West Ham played? I can't remember who it was. It might have been Stoke or something where he scored that ridiculous free kick. And I just remember I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it live and I was like, bro, like did I just watch what I just watched? Like I thought the ball disappeared and it just came back into frame. Like he's one of those guys for me.
And I think one thing.
Go on.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say.
No, I'm just gonna quickly end off at like there's certain players that look amazing on highlights. One guy that has an amazing record on the highlights is Olivier Giroud. If you watch an Olivier Giroud compilation, you'll fall in love with that guy. And you watch him on the pitch, he's nothing to say. He's different.
It's two different players, man.
Hey, that's kind of like a comparison I can make in the NFL, which I think I kind of want to move to the segment, is now comparing players. One guy whose highlights were crazy, if you watch him, was Tavon Austin. Ethan, I don't know if you remember him from West
NFL,
Virginia.
You want to
West
get into
Virginia
the NFL,
highlights.
Watch his college football, Tavon Austin.
Oh
I kid you not. Like, Americans will swear by it. That's the best mixtape that any player has ever had. Like, ever.
He's got kick returns. He's running. He's doing everything. But I definitely see where you're coming from, where I think, just getting finding an attachment to one player can help you become a fan of the league. And I've seen a lot of people start to do it with the NBA too. So one guy I've really gotten a buzz from, who I think is going to be like one of the biggest players in the NBA, is Ja Morant. And I want to see who you guys think we can compare him to in the world of soccer.
My biggest.
So I think before we do this, we need to describe the qualities of what Ja Morant does, and then we can compare that to a football player.
All right.
So what is he? So he's a leader. He's tenacious.
He's young, athletic.
Young, athletic is probably the two biggest.
Young and athletic are the two biggest.
He's a highlight reel.
He's a high flyer.
So I think there's one guy in mind. I don't know if you guys. Okay, let's do it. Let's say it on three. All right. If you guys have someone in mind,
I kind of do.
I'm gonna. Are we doing Premier League or like everywhere?
No, just anyone.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Gage's gonna get caught. That's what I know.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm gonna say someone so dumb, and you guys are all right. Go.
Let's do it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool. 1, 2, 3. Mbappe.
Hey. Hey, Ethan. Hey, Rimedi, man. I'm glad we're on the same page. But I actually think that's a pretty good comparison, because I think Mbappe is one of the most exciting young stars in soccer right now, and you could say the same thing about Ja Morant for basketball.
I think with Haaland, why I say Haaland more than Mbappe is just the fact that Haaland is like, he's like 6. How tall is he? He's like 6'7", 6'8",
6'4".
6'4". I might be guessing. I'm boosting.
6'4". No, but 6'4" in Europe is tall.
Yeah.
In football, yeah.
6'4", but he can run as fast as Mbappe. Like that's how I see Ja Morant. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah. It's not bad though. We're along the same lines.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, Rimedi, do you have a comparison that you want to hear from us? Maybe.
Okay. We're gonna the Cavaliers, Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland.
Let's compare it to a team. Because I got one in mind.
Let me see my notes, because I got teams down. I just want to make sure that this isn't one of the teams. I would say the Cavs, for me, like the way in soccer, I would probably have to see them. Because the way I'm seeing it, the Cavs is like, they had that one player, LeBron, you know what I mean? So my thinking is like, what would be that one team that had that one player? But now...
No, but I'm talking about them right now.
Right now. With Garland and Mobley. Ooh.
Like, if you compare the team and the profiles of their team, what they eventually want to achieve. Because I got a team in mind.
I would have said Juve, but Juve is like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm interested to hear. I have no idea. I'm actually interested to hear what you have to say.
I was gonna say Arsenal.
Arsenal's not bad.
Yeah,
for me, it was Barcelona.
Yeah, because they have like a young team. They had a really good, successful period during the season. In terms of they were winning games, they were looking good, and now they have had certain injuries happen to the team, and now they don't look as good as they did before. but they have a really high potential and they have a really high ceiling in the future. That's why I said Arsenal. The Arsenal comparison when we were doing well, that I had in mind was Phoenix. How everyone was clowning Phoenix for doing well.
I think the only comparison is like Phoenix has the Chris Paul figure. You know what I mean? The guy that never got it done, but once he got to Phoenix, he took it over the hedge. But I do really like the Cleveland comparison because you can compare Darius Garland, their point guard, to Bukayo Saka. And you can compare Evan Mobley to Martinelli, and you can just go down the list with Odegaard and all of them. Yeah, we don't talk about Tavares.
All right, Ethan, do you have a comparison that you want to?
I have a really good one. Like, for me, what would be y'all's comparison? I'll help Gage out. What would be y'all's comparison for Dortmund to an NBA team? Because I got one that it's gonna make so much sense when I say it. Because they got Haaland, they have Gio Reyna, they had Sancho, they had Götze, they had all those guys. They had all these young players, but they could never ever get past the hump in Bayern.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to think of...
This is why we co-host, man. This is why we do this.
I know.
Nah, because I'm going to be so angry if I don't get it.
No, it's okay.
When I say it, it's going to click. Like, it's going to click, especially where this NBA team is, like, right now.
Oh, wait. I was thinking of someone different.
Don't fold on me.
You can go ahead.
OKC.
If you want.
Oklahoma City.
Yes.
That's the way I see it. I see OKC as like they had James Harden, they had Kevin Durant, they had Russell Westbrook, and then they started leaving to all their arch rivals. James Harden went to Houston. Kevin Durant went to Golden State. Russ stayed, but he eventually went to Houston. He left and everything like that. And that's how I kind of
sounds like Marco Royce.
Marco Royce. Yep. That's a great one. Marco Royce and Russ. That's a great comparison.
Yeah, I'm good with that. That's a good one. Hey, Gage, what were you thinking of?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Don't do that to me. You got nothing.
Can't get over the hump, man.
Hey, Rimedi, when you start following like the NFL more, because that's going to be me and Gage's job from now on. We're going to start bothering you about the NFL and stuff like that. Don't let them change your mind about the Cowboys. They be spreading false agendas about our good name and how great we are. We don't even be bringing ourselves up in these conversations. Look at Gage, always trying to do the low blow jokes about us.
I just like seeing you get riled up.
I had that with Arsenal, man. Like, it was tough. It was tough, man.
Hey, so Rimedi, I think this could lead us to our next point. Obviously, I think in American sports, we have our fan bases that are unanimously hated.
Delusional, yes.
Delusional, we would say. So who would you say, I guess, embodies that in the English Premier League?
I know exactly what he's going to say, too.
In terms of the delusional fans?
Delusional,
we'll start with, like, who do you think are, like, the top three, like, most delusional fan bases
and
right
annoying
now?
fan bases.
And then we'll go with, like, then I'll let you get your rant off about the team you probably hate the most. You can spread all your agendas.
All right, so delusional. First one, I'm gonna put Arsenal. We have one of the most delusional fan bases, I have to admit. Second one, Manchester United. I think
somebody had to say it, man. They need to do like a case study on Man United fans. Like, they're sick in the head. Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. I went viral for a tweet. I was like, the general IQ of the legends that used to play for Man United is lower than the legends of the other clubs. I still think that because what they think of the club is much bigger than what they actually are. And other fans are they can see it, but some Manchester United fans cannot. They still think we're Man United, we're the best. And they haven't been the best since I was 13 years old.
Yeah, we have a friend named Khaled. Khaled, right? Like, he was on our last episode that just dropped today. For those who are listening, check link down in the bio. Look at that.
Check it out.
And he's a delusional Man United fan. Like he's one of them ones that he blames Harry Maguire for every single thing. He swears by, he's like, bro, once we take Harry, you put Lindelof in, we're fine. We're totally fine. And I just love Ryle hitting him up. I'm like, bro, like when are you gonna admit that Ronaldo was the worst signing this year? Like when are you gonna like just like, and I agree with you that on the United fans, like that's been my favorite part of this season is just watching like the demise. Like their expectations were so high. Like, and just watching it crash and burn. Oh, nothing was better than that.
100%. I can't laugh too much right now because Arsenal are not doing as good as they were.
Oh no, I saw you backtrack earlier today on the Twitter. Like, enough with the excuses. Like Arteta, like,
hey, but sometimes,
that was
fun. If it makes you feel any better, my team has made it to the NFC, basically the semifinal every year for the past 3 years. The Green Bay Packers and lost the past 3 years, breaking my heart.
I don't even watch football, but if you're a Packers fan, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
I don't even watch American football, man. Like was it 2011? You guys won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then since then it's just been
just
making it to the playoffs.
Just like us, Gage. You're just like us.
Actually, the thing is, man, we're getting further than y'all, and we beat y'all too. But we're getting besides the point. We're getting besides the point.
Do they get participation trophies out for making semifinals?
No, they don't.
See.
Yeah, but you can brag that your team made it further, though, right?
God, we're not doing this.
Is that part of the? Is that?
To be honest, this conversation is like ass first cheeks, man. This is not. this is. Yeah, man. Bro, battle of the losers, man.
That's really how it feels, bro. Like during the NFL season, it gets so toxic, bro. Like I remember when the Cowboys lost in the playoffs. Like my mental health was at an all-time low. Like I couldn't open that group chat. Like I'm like, bro, I can't look in here. Like if I want to live to see like 70 or 80, like I can't look in there. Like I need to take like a few hours on it. And I kid you not, everybody was blowing my phone up. I had like 15 missed calls and at like 10, 20 messages. I'm like, bro, like I just can't. I was having the shakes. Like I was walking around my apartment, like I couldn't grab things straight.
All right, so Rimedi, let me ask you, man. Me and Ethan have these horror stories of watching games with our friends and them basically torturing us when our team loses.
For the Cowboys, for me, it was the 2014 and 2016 when we played the Green Bay Packers. One of those games, I was like, oh my God, like I don't think I valued my life that day, like at all.
Me and Ethan weren't friends at the time either, but I'm thinking of something more recently when I made the grave mistake of inviting Ethan and all of our friends over to my house during the Packers game where they lost. And then proceeded to record me like crying. I'm like, come on, man, this is the last chance. This is our last year to win it. And they're like making fun of me the whole time.
You should post this as we're speaking.
No, I am. My favorite thing was like he invited us into his home. Like his family cooked us a meal. And we just embarrassed him in his own house. Like the whole time his mom was like, Gage, are you gonna let them talk to you like this? It wasn't even like the rest of the friends because they had more morals. Like they were kinder. It was mostly me and our other friend Travis who were diehard Cowboys fans. We was crying because we thought they was gonna smoke the 49ers.
But we should mention what Travis does when his team loses, which kind of leads me to Rimedi. I want to see how do you cope when your team loses? Because our friend Travis likes to throw couches, slam doors, punch TVs, all of the above. How do you cope?
No, you must be talking to the most chilled out fan ever because because Arsenal were losing so often. I just got to a point where I was just like, you know what? This loss is not going to ruin my day. I have friends that I can see.
Yeah, exactly. Continue on, right?
Things to do.
This doesn't define me.
My life has a greater purpose than this, and I am better. But when we win, I'm so happy. It's because when we win, let's say I'm here. When we win, I'm here. When we lose, I'm still here. I don't
you don't go down, upset. Right?
No,
or maybe just a little bit, but it's not like
exactly.
Oh my God, I'm depressed. I'm gonna die.
It's not an Arsenal fan TV thing. No. I'm a very chilled out fan, and if we lose, I look for I take I don't know, a day or so, and I'd rewatch some of the highlights, and I'm like, okay, what can I take out of the game? Is there progress? Were we genuinely terrible? But no, I wish I could give you stories of me like punching a TV screen, punching my mom. Like, I wish I could give you a story like that. But
what's the most painful? Like, it doesn't have to be like an Arsenal loss, or like just game where you bet like you were so confident, like the other team. Like, I guess I'll start sharing. Like, I got two. The first one for me was the Argentina like World Cup like final. Like, oh, it's sickening to this day. Hey, I don't care like for any logic and rhyme and reason. I don't care. Neuer should have got sent off. That's a red card. I don't care. I'm not arguing with nobody. For my sake, for my mental health, I need to think of that. Like, I can't like think anything else. And then the second for me was when Barcelona lost the second leg to Liverpool. And the thing is, that day I knew it. I knew we was gonna lose. I told my friends all day. I said, "Bro, we finna lose this." Like, I was.
Were you talking about Ousmane Dembele missing a chance? Were you talking about that?
Once he missed the shot after the game, like, don't get me wrong, that was one of like, in my head, like that was one of the. You might disagree. That was one of Messi's top like 6-7 games. Like, I still remember like watching like the free kick he made on Alisson, and I'm like, "There's never gonna be a player better than this. Like, there's never gonna be a player better than this." And then like I sat with it like 2-3 days, and I'm like, we really gonna lose the second leg. Like, I just knew the whole way. Yeah. And when Trent did the pass to Origi on the corner kick, I was like, of course this is gonna happen. Like, of course we're gonna lose like this. And the thing was, we had like 30 minutes left in the game, and I'm like, we're not gonna score either. Like, the game is just gonna end like this, and I just have to live with it.
So what's that loss that crushed your soul?
Okay, I've got three. Okay, I've got three for you. All right, so the first one. This is probably before you guys started watching football. How old are you guys? If like
20 and Gage, you're old as fuck now. No, I'm just playing.
I'm 21.
All right, so we're similar ages. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was 2008. All right, Arsenal were playing amazingly. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna scrap that. There's a bigger one. No, 2011, Arsenal, Barcelona in the Champions League.
I remember that.
That crushed my soul because Van Persie got a red card when he shouldn't have, and we were playing really well, and we beat you guys, and we're going to be the team that could beat Bayern to beat Barcelona in their absolute peak, and we gave you guys such a challenge.
But to be fair, you guys aren't the only team. Like, I had Chelsea. Oh my God, that famous game. That was one of my favorite games ever. We got absolutely ran off the field that day. Like, we was so awful that day, but by the grace of Allah, He gave us that game. That's the only. I still have memes of like Drogba, like just going in the tunnel at the middle.
Defo. So that's one. So that's 2011. Second one was the Europa League final, Arsenal-Chelsea, because that one I was supremely confident for when we lost 4-1 in the final. Hazard scored, I think, twice. We got to the Europa League final. We messed up on top 4 qualifying for the Champions League with Unai Emery. So yeah, I was distraught after that game. That was the game where I realized life is bigger than this. That was the game. That was the moment I recognized life is bigger than this. And the last one was actually the England final in the Euro tournament against Italy, because we were, like, me and my friends were all watching it, and man, the vibes in England are never good. But for that month during the tournament, it was amazing. Like, I was smack bang downtown central London watching the game with all of my friends. Like, we're like all the tourist sites, we were there. We were watching the game, and so it got to the penalty shootouts. Everyone knows that Saka's my favorite player. He steps up. Me and my friends were all sat with each other because we all support Arsenal as well. We're like, please, not the black man missing the penalty. Please. He missed the penalty. I can't. We felt like crying. We literally
on the bright side, he wasn't the only black man.
Exactly. So I think like that penalty, that one really broke my heart because it was Saka because I don't know if you guys know this, but Saka is like my favorite player in the world because he grew up in an area that is like, I don't know, 5 minutes from me. He went to a school that's nearby to the school that I went to. He's a couple years younger. I know people that went to school with him, always say he's a good player. So it's someone that I really resonate with because he's come from an African household like me, did well in school like me, and focused on football. So I think seeing him miss the penalty was like, oh, it was like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
I feel that. And a part of me, like, I know this is gonna suck. I was so glad Sterling didn't take that penalty that day. Because he's my favorite, like, Premier League player. It's between him and Aguero. But Sterling, I know the hate he gets, and I'm like, please don't take one, because I know you're gonna miss it. And please, like, your ego cannot take this big of a hit. Please, it can't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, football sometimes has been like, I've had so many ups, but I've also had the downs, and the downs are really, really bad sometimes.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned to you guys, that you guys are watching this right now, the viewers, there is more to life than the sport that you watch. Yeah. Don't be throwing and wasting money on couches, on new televisions. Stop it. Get a life, go to work, enjoy life with your friends. That's it.
Thank you.
Man.
And that should be a PSA to the shitty friends out there, Ethan.
Whoa.
Hey, take it easy on your friends when their team loses too. I mean,
Nah, I say go crazy.
Okay, actually, you know what?
On your friends, okay. On the average person, don't go too hard.
Exactly.
Like, okay. That's fair.
Yeah. And I think, like, a common thing, and I think this is going to be a great transition, is, like, we have both, like, our national team. Like, I rep Argentina, like, you rep England. I have a soft spot for England too. But it's like, with the World Cup coming up and, like, all the controversy of it being, like, in the winter and it being in Qatar and everything like that, like, I really want to get into, like, the big storylines coming into this World Cup with, like, the 10 minutes or so that we have left. If that's cool with y'all.
Yeah, I'm good.
I bet. Let's look at my handy dandy little list.
I want to look at the groups, and I kind of want to, like, talk about, I guess, the outlooks on the countries for, I guess, our teams competing. I want to start with, can we start with England?
Yeah, I guess we can, because like we got vested interests. Yeah, I use that word right.
Yeah. What do you guys study, by the way, in college?
Like digital media, like mass communication.
That's crazy. That's sick. Oh, both of you?
We met because we worked at the radio station.
Yeah.
That's
on
crazy.
Campus. It was so cool, man. It was just like a student radio thing.
I saw him across the room, and like we made eye contact, and we.
All right. He's trying to make this all meet cute. Nah, man. I saw his big head, and I was like, all right, hey man, you want to start a podcast? Now we're best friends, man, and just.
It's a lot of fun, man. Because we get to do shit like this. You know what I mean?
Shit, we're winning awards and shit too at the.
Oh, congratulations, man!
Appreciate it, dog, man.
You guys deserve it, man. You guys, you guys are serious hosts, honestly.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Well, I say let's get right into it. I'm looking at the groups right now. Start with Group B because we've got two countries of vested interest, at least in terms of the countries we live in. We've got England and the United States, as well as Iran. And then we will find out who the last last team.
Do you think it's going to be Wales or Scotland? I think it's going to be Wales.
I think it's going to be Wales too.
Let's say Wales, because Wales have star power that Scotland doesn't.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah,
we'll talk about him a little bit earlier. But I guess kind of outlook on England. I know we talked a little bit about the state of American soccer. I'm sure they really won't stand a chance if Wales do advance, do you think the United States stand a chance at all in that group?
Yeah, it's tough because Wales' system is very like counterattack. Like they can defend and they can defend and they can defend. But what Wales can do is they have players that can give you big moments. Ramsey, Gareth Bale, other players that I haven't mentioned. But I think that will be a really good matchup. Let's assume Wales are going through. I think America, what you guys need to focus on as well is how you can find gaps in the Welsh defense. So your midfield, I'm just trying to think. You have Gio Reyna, you have
Weston McKennie,
Weston McKennie,
Tyler Adams.
Yeah, you have these exactly. And I think what you guys are missing in terms of your midfield is that player that can just unlock everything, like a Thiago for Liverpool type of player that can just unlock everything going on. So I think you guys are set up. You guys have a good set of forwards, good wingers, some good defenders as well. But I think if you guys can focus on, or the American team can focus on trying to find holes in the Welsh defense, I think that's where you get a lot of success. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very tough. You can never predict what happens at a World Cup because in 2014, the group was England, Italy, Uruguay, and Costa Rica, and Costa Rica finished first.
Yeah.
That's a bloodbath of a group.
Exactly.
And Costa Rica won it. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They finished first, exactly. So you can never ever predict what's going on. If I speak about England briefly, I think the national team has never been in a better state as it has now.
I like to think of this as like
success.
England's golden era. Like
Exactly.
I'm gonna say, is it bold to say they might be the favorite to win it all?
I wouldn't say the favorites because
France would probably be the
Argentina
favorite.
I mean, France is up there for sure.
Argentina, they're looking really good. Brazil as well.
You're stroking my ego right now. I feel it.
Spain are really good right now. But England are one of the best teams in Europe. And I think like they got to the semi-finals of the last World Cup. They got to the finals of the Euro competition in the summer or last summer. So I think England can do well. It's just about how in the
Get
big
over the
moments
hump.
yeah, exactly. As Dallas Cowboys.
Rimedi, thank you so much for joining.
I didn't like that, like at all. Like at all.
Hey, we're having a blast, man. But now we can move on to Group C because this is the other one we were just talking about with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. And as you know,
two have vested interest as well.
We both have vested interest.
Yeah. And the thing is about me, like, I'm not a racist. But
he hates Mexicans.
I cannot stand Mexican national team fans. Like living in like where we live, they're everywhere. They're like cockroaches. You lift up a sandal, you find them everywhere.
Listen, I do not associate with these views. These views are from Ethan only. Hey man,
oh yeah, these are my views. I'll take credit for these. This is my ledge. But that's the thing, like, I don't know about, like, you might see it different than me. I might just be, like, a biased Argentinian fan and think we're going to win every game. I don't think this group is that hard. Like I'm not really, other than really, because it's us, Saudi
Arabia, Mexico, and Poland.
Is it Poland? Mm-hmm. I'm not really worried. Poland doesn't do good in these international competitions. Mm-hmm. Mexico, like, I would be worried about, like, an upset from them, but this is probably one of the weaker teams that they've had, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say.
You know what I mean? So I'm not really too worried about it. How worried should we be?
I think Argentina right now, they're in like the form of their lives. Like they've not lost a game in how long? Like a very, very long time.
Like 2 years.
Exactly. Like the system is there right now. Like the issue is like, I wish Messi had this team because I'm a Messi fan as well. And I just wish Messi had this team
2014.
5 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah, exactly. When he was in his peak, because the team now is really built around Messi. And in those times, everything was Messi. Mm-hmm. And now Messi can just be Messi. He doesn't have to
himself. He doesn't have to be a superhero.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. The team is very balanced now. So I think Argentina could do really well. I think Mexico do well in the competitions. Like they always make it past the group phase. They can cause a scare to any team in the world, no matter who. So Saudi are very tough to break down. They're another team like that.
Mm-hmm.
Poland, I'm not too familiar with the Polish game. I'll be real, but I think there should be an Argentina and Mexico like going through to the next round.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Like to hear. That's what
I'm thinking too. But our friend Khaled, again, who was on our episode that came out today,
he's
actually from Saudi Arabia, so I can't wait.
No My favorite thing was I was watching the World Cup draw with him, and he was like, "No way." Like, we really got Argentina, Poland,
and Mexico.
Oh, my.
And I was telling Khaled, man, we're going to be at each other's throats during the group stages.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be really, really fun. You guys should vlog it.
That would be gas.
Yeah, you guys should vlog it.
Gotta stroke the goatee.
That's man. My thing going back to Argentina is like, I agree with you. Like, I think this is the best two like center back pairing we've ever had. Like, with what's his name, Lisandro Martinez and Romero. Yep. And then in the midfield, we got like this. Like, it's weird. Like, we don't have like we have DePaul, who I think like he's trash for Atletico, but in Argentina he's ridiculous. Like he's ridiculous on Argentina. And then Paredes. I just think of Paredes like a thug. Paredes is just a thug to me. Like he's just he's like just a worse version of Vidal. Like he just goes like winding people up. Lo Celso though is ridiculous. Like I don't know how he was never like good on Spurs. Cause I watched him on Villarreal, and then on Argentina, bro, he's cold. he's cold.
He's top. I watch a lot of Spanish football as well. He's top.
He's really good. And then I really think the biggest thing has been Di Maria's health. Like the fact that Di Maria is healthy now. Like again, I keep bringing back that 2014 final. If Di Maria didn't have that hamstring, I really think it would have gone different. Because I think that's what Argentina always missed was like that playmaker. Because you could always just throw bodies at Messi. Like you can just you can try to kick at him, and unless he's having like one of those days where you know like what's gonna happen, you could slow him down. But you can't do that to him and Di Maria. You know what I mean?
Definitely, 100%.
And that's what the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. And then another good thing, like I guess like talking to our audience, another good thing they should figure out is like I think low key is like Ghana is gonna get their rematch with Uruguay, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's big. Like there's a big Ghanaian community in London, and they're super excited for the game. So I'm gonna try watch the game with the Ghanaians because there's a lot of history between that, like with the whole handball thing and missing the penalties and then losing on the penalty shootout. Like that was a big game. Sometimes like every year or so, I try rewatch that game just to experience what they went through, and it was tough because we're Africans. We're all supporting Africa, especially in the African World Cup, and that was so sad.
It was sad because like they were better than like they were so much better than Uruguay that game, but it's like Suarez literally sold his soul for them to win that game.
Exactly, definitely.
Well, they'll be in a group with Portugal and the Korea Republic too. So I guess kind of last final thoughts on the World Cup. Do y'all see any other teams maybe making an impact besides some of the big ones that we mentioned earlier?
I think Denmark are really good. Denmark have a really good side. Denmark have a really good side, and they're very balanced. Because they got to the final of the Euro competition. They're doing well, and like people like rate Belgium too high. I don't think Belgium are gone now. Belgium are like past their generation of success now. They're like Hazard is 31, De Bruyne is 30. Like they're all like getting past it. Lukaku is obviously not doing well at Chelsea right now. So I think Belgium, they've missed their trick. They missed their like opportunity. I think Denmark is like my like I don't know, dark horse. Is that what they call it? Yeah, dark horse because they're a really good team.
For me, it's gonna be Canada. Like Alphonso Davies is like that. Jonathan David is like that, and like I think they were like the dark horse. Like they were like the surprise team out of like the World Cup qualifiers because nobody had them going above the United States and Mexico. And I'm not gonna lie, they kind of cruised through it. Like they didn't lose a single game in qualifying. They're a really good team. I think they're in the same group as.
I think they're in the first group.
The first group?
I actually don't know.
Canada's with Belgium, Morocco, and Croatia in Group F.
They could upset that group. Like I really think they could.
Yeah, they got a good defensive system. Yeah.
Gage, what about you?
My sleeper is going to be in Group A, and I still have nightmares from it because no era penal. I'm going to go with the Netherlands in Group A. I think they've got a pretty weak group in Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. So I could see them easily coming out of that group and making some noise early in the tournament. I don't know how far they'll go, but
my thing with them is they're like, what's your opinion? Like really quick, because I know we got to wrap it up on like the Netherlands coach. Because I think that's what's holding them back is their coaching.
I don't know. Like they have they go through like a carousel of coaches. Like the same coach will coach like 6 years ago. Then it'll be another coach. Like it'll be A, B, C, D. And then it'll go C, B, D, A, like in a random order. Like the same 4 coaches just rotate between the job. And I find it so crazy. And with things with the Dutch team, they always have like a soft, like they're soft, like you can go through them. Like in the Euros, like they played the best football. But then the second when the Czech Republic turned up the heat, they were non-existent. So, yeah.
Hey, Gage, what did you say? The lights is too bright. Turn them down.
Yeah.
turn them off.
Turn them off.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
I feel that, man. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I think that's a good way to end it because I'm hoping for an Argentina win, even though I wouldn't be mad if the English win. Like, I wouldn't be mad. I know as an Argentine, I shouldn't be saying that, but I wouldn't be mad.
Hey, I'm rooting for England too, man. Now that Remedi's our homie now.
Friend of the show, yo.
Friend of the show, man. We're rooting for England.
Anytime, man.
Hey, well, we got to keep in contact over the socials and
you're welcome anytime on this, man. Hey, I'm letting you know too. Like now that like you made the mistake of like responding to me, and now we're all cool. I would be blowing up your phone now about soccer shit.
All right, no worries, man. I'm here for you guys. Don't worry.
And when the World Cup comes and we start doing those live streams, maybe vlogs, maybe we'll get Rimedi to join us for a little bit, maybe a collab again.
That'd be good.
Hopefully I'll be out there. I'm trying to get out there for the World Cup. But it'll be tough. Yeah, it'll be tough, but yeah, I'm working on some stuff behind the scenes.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm banking on the World Cup after this. Like, I want to see this one just because it's Messi and Ronaldo's last one. But the one afterwards, when it's in the U.S., that's the one I'm banking on.
In U.S., Mexico, and Canada. So I'll be at one of each.
Definitely. It'll be exciting.
All right. Well, Rimedi, thank you so much for joining Are We Recording? If you guys want to go check out Rimedi's, all of the content he makes, we're going to leave his YouTube, TikTok.
If you guys want to know like more about soccer and you're tired of hearing me engage as an annoying voice, this is the guy, man. He knows it. And that's the cool thing, man. I'm going to give you your flowers, man. Like, you like know what you're talking about, but even when you do, you're not condescending about it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these football shows, like they delve too deep into the entertainment side of it, and that's just like that's what American sports are too. But they get condescending. You're pretty. You're really comfortable to talk to, man.
And
really
smart and funny as hell, man. Thank you so much again, Rimedi.
Nah, really stop it, man. Stop it. I'm blushing. You're gonna make a Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, well, again, we're gonna leave everything in the description. This has been Gage Sutton and Ethan Hamilton for Are We Recording. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.